Jean, you're good. Calling the Senior Services Advisory Board meeting to order on March 15th at 1 o'clock here in the boardroom. Everyone has had a chance to look at the agenda. Jean asked me over the weekend if we would add under new business recycling. Is there anything else that needs to be added to the agenda? Call for the approval of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. I would like to move that we approve the agenda, but at number 6, old business, we move into a work session.
So there are two amendments to the agenda. Number 6, old business, move to a work session. Number 7, under new business, discuss recycling at the senior center. Any other changes to the agenda? All those in favor of the changed agenda say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Moving on. Thank you. Kim did the minutes and Taylor sent them out to everyone. Taylor usually has them available for us here at the table, but I don't see them today.
I apologize for being late.
We could table that and have the office make copies, 9 copies, and we could table it. That would be great. All those in favor of tabling it?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Jean. Flower fund.
Do we need the agenda copy too?
No, we have those right there in the middle of the table. Thank you, dear. Treasurer's report, flower fund, and the flower fund. The question was raised with me last week about why the flower fund hasn't grown over the last year. All right, so I'm sorry. The first thing on the agenda was introductions. So Cindy Cronk is here with us today. For those of you who don't know Cindy, she is helping us with the silent auction at the fundraiser on April 29th. And I've invited her to come and sit at the table because we will be discussing these issues, and she's critical to making our project a success. Other than that, I think we all know each other, and I'm very sorry. Cindy, do you know everyone at the table?
I do.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
No, some better than others.
All right, so Jean now has the minutes for us from last meeting. Kim is our secretary and graciously did these even though she was out of town. She took the minutes from the recording that we had. And so I read them over and didn't really have any changes that I would recommend. I'll give you a minute to read them over. I move that we approve the minutes as presented. Is there a second?
No second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So we have, Sherry, been raising money at the senior center for the senior center expansion and little things that we need for the senior center that we feel we should support. Like one time we bought card tables so that TV trays, so that during you could set your drink on a TV tray and still play the game and your drinks weren't getting in the way. One time we bought something for bingo. I don't remember what it was. But the majority of the money that we've been raising has been earmarked for the senior center expansion. And we've raised money in many different ways. We used to have Taco Tuesdays on Tuesday nights, and we would sell Haitian tacos. We had Elvis come. we had a knick-knack sale once, we sold cookies, we've had a big sale. Well, anyways, we would always take the revenue from Euchre and Bingo, and it would go into this fund, what we call the treasurer's report. It would go into this fund that is a separate earmarked fund in the township budget that's just for the senior center expansion. But that amount hasn't changed in years, and I'm wondering that the revenue that we get from using the building, like every Thursday, Nancy uses the building and she charges everyone who comes in $1, and then at the end she brings the dollar to the township. However, the $20 or $22 or whatever. So the question is, where does that money go? And does it go into this fund? And if not, why not? And where should it go? Nancy and Dana both had your hands up.
I think we were just going to go with clarification that the money came from Euchre, from the sets, all the set money, wasn't it?
The flower fund.
That is the flower fund.
Bingo
There's
had
nothing from Bingo.
nothing for bingo.
Oh, so none of that revenue went into the expansion fund, it just went into the flower fund.
From Euchre. Bingo, there was no revenue. We went back out in prices.
Bingo, just
All
like
are
we
back
said.
to
So do you charge $1 to play?
Now that's,
Now they,
Yes.
now the dollar
So
per
that
person.
goes to the township?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't think
I think if that would be for the rental of the room, I wouldn't think that would go to the,
City quick.
I wouldn't think
can't
that
spend
would
it
go
all
to
the
our
time.
fund.
Oh, excuse me?
I would think that the $1 per person to come in and play would go to the township for the rental of the senior center. I wouldn't think that would go into our fund.
So it pays the utilities for the building to be open. Is that the way you guys understand it?
Yeah, it just never showed up anywhere else
Okay,
since I was there.
all right.
I was never told one way or the other.
But it was like that for line dancing and what else did we used to do for $1? Okay.
well, when I get a printout of the accounts, I'll be able to answer those questions. I have not been able to get the printout yet. I requested them months ago.
Well, how long does it take?
Exactly. I used to be able to get them within seconds. I used to give them to them, they print them out for me, and give them to me.
And since Steve has left and Jennifer is our treasurer, have you asked Jennifer?
I have not. The only one I proposed it to was Karen.
Can you talk to Jennifer?
I've tried, and she's never available when I'm here.
Karen or Jennifer?
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
You're wanting a detail of that account, is that what you're requesting?
I always have.
Yeah, is she here today?
Before the pandemic,
She
I
wasn't,
always
she's
did.
not here right now. The door is closed, I think. All right, so, I guess we'll have to ask Jennifer now that Steve's gone. I'm surprised that Steve didn't do that before you left, because I'm sure you'd spoken to Steve about it.
And no.
No?
I only spoke to Karen about it.
Only to Karen. So
Because
it never,
it was her employees that always did it for me.
when she was a
Jennifer,
deputy,
could you put it in writing?
when she was a
Could you?
Oh, I could, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's,
Okay.
put it in writing request.
and maybe CC Sherry. You know, she's our trustee. Public comment.
I have public comment. Where are the reports from the director
No reports, we don't get reports.
and the head count from the cooks?
She doesn't give us reports.
We had requested those.
So we no longer receive the data that trustee Hewens Bliss was ranting about that he didn't have is not actually being produced.
It's not available. When I asked Karen for it, I've asked Karen for it a lot, but the last time I asked Karen for it, she said the earliest she could have it would be March 27th.
It is being produced, though. Correct? It's
Oh, I have
from
no
the
idea.
township.
At the last, during the last,
Are they doing
the recounting,
I
yes.
certainly
You're
am.
just not getting it.
Yeah,
Correct.
she doesn't want us to have an association with it.
Well, I'm supposed to come to your table.
Great.
As part of this group's packet, that information should be in your packet, so that this group knows ahead of time exactly what's going on.
It always did
Meanwhile-
before the pandemic.
I I would also like to thank Judy for coming to the board meeting, the township board meeting, to do a presentation. I'm going to try to play that for you. Let's just start there. That those would have to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Another one of the recommendations is that we work on partnerships. I will say that the head of the Clayton County Transit Authority will be in the senior center on Friday to meet with the coordinator and to have lunch with us. She's very eager to talk with our coordinator about how perhaps the transit authority at the county level can better convene maybe a group of young people that they would bring into the senior center for lunch and take home after lunch. So we are beginning to work on increasing the number of partnerships that are available through the senior center to help our seniors at this point in time. So right now we would like to move forward and bring the architect on board so that they can look at the facility and the potential that we have there for expanding the possibility of any issues related to parking. Right? Cost. The architect, I think his proposal is $4,500 that he would do the drawings, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, land review, corrections and additions, work with inspectors, do the preliminary plans, the renderings, the final plan, the seal set of commercial drawings. It's a full proposal. It's full. In this $4,500 amount is coming, do you know where from?
What the guys are okay, but I think it's important for you to.
Yes.
I know, that's what I'm asking, we already approved.
Come out from, what is the, ARPA funding?
We approved one for that.
20,000.
I'm still struggling with this request. This board has not yet determined if this is something that we want to do. I think the first step of this should be us as a board determining, is this something we even want to consider before leading the committee or other committee, not vote to support the actual expansion later. I think it sends a message to the community and to the seniors that this is moving. But again, we have not had one conversation at this board level about actually expanding the senior center. We also, I appreciate the voices represented here, but there's too few voices represented saying that we need an expanded senior center.
Right.
The numbers that we have, the data that Karen has provided to us don't support expansion. So I feel like this is, again, step 10 in a 12-step process, and we haven't even started step 1.
Even though this started
I'm
because
not saying
I
I'm against expansion. It's just, it feels like the sort of train has left the station here before we've even decided to support having a train. So I don't want to set the precedent for the Parks Committee
He
to
also
get,
served on the board for 6 years when we
an architect to start designing Upton Road and come to us and say, here's Upton Road Park, you guys should support this. Or, the farmers market say, we're going to build a new pavilion, we've hired an architect, here we go. I think we have to decide we're going to support a project before we start hiring architects.
And from my point of view, if you don't do this, you're not going to know whether you want your expansion or not. That's, I think, for me, that's how I look at it. I really would like the information, so I don't know if that falls into what you're looking at or not, but information is crucial. You can't just really say, maybe you're on the board. The board has to make a decision on what they do. But if they don't have the information, they can't make a true decision. So I'm afraid I support what they're asking. That would be my hope.
I understand both of you, but in working through this, it would be really hard for this board to transportation to expand the senior center program. finding out that the parking lot won't meet the needs of the expansion.
That's Benson.
So I've been supporting this because this architect's going to tell us how much parking I need to service this architectural drawing, okay? And if I don't have enough parking for that, because when I said we've got step 10, step 12, then there's no reason for any expansion on this building because it doesn't have enough parking available to service this building. And that's the thing that I came to my conclusion on, is I actually need to study before I go out the expansion, because I don't know if there's not existing parking, and there's some requirement for this expansion. And that has to be, we can get the car park force really easy here, correction, but I think that's part of architectural work that you'll be doing, yes, you have enough parking spaces, no, you don't have enough parking spaces. Because there's only so much place to park out there.
Yes, I agree. I need more information to make a decision. Like Doug said, it was agreed that there's a need for exercise room, put outside kitchens, freezers, and whatever for more food if it comes to that. But we need input, we need information to vote on something. I think the need is there. Our people need it, but we need to know what we're voting on. So we need the architect. My opinion.
So I appreciate both of those thoughts, but I sort of think about it like my house. I don't need an architect to come and draw me pictures to know if I want to expand my house or not. I have to want to expand my house in order to bring an architect out. So I appreciate that we want to know about parking, but if we don't expand the building, we won't need to expand parking. So again, that's a step ahead of things. So I just really struggle. We have not had any conversations as a board about this. So I appreciate that we want information. I'm not even saying we should vote. I'm saying we haven't even voiced yes or no that 4 out of 7 of us would even support the concept. So if there's not 4 votes to even support the concept of expansion, why would we hire an architect to start drawing up pictures? Because that has to be the threshold. I don't think that committees should be pitching big projects that the board has not indicated any support to. I think we have to have discussions about that. This is what should have happened when Karen asked us to do strategic planning. This is the type of stuff that would have come out of that. Do we want to expand buildings? Do we want new parks? Do we want new ideas? And then are we willing to put money behind them? Because if we do this, then we should expect every other committee to come here asking us to hire people to start drawing things up so that they can pitch us big projects. And if that's what we want to do, I think that's a fair thing. But what I don't want to happen is the Parks Committee to put the same request in a month and us say, well, wait, we might not want a park, so we're not going to do that. So I think we have to make sure we know we're setting a precedent here.
Okay. I think the precedent already been set. When we voted, when it was passed for the Grand Rapids Committee to come in to tell us what our parks should be doing or how we should be developing Bath Township. That is the cart before the horse kind of thing.
But that's not what they're doing, Maureen.
But that's exactly what
It isn't, though. They're not coming here to tell us what we should. Maureen, just let me say, they're not coming in to tell us what we should be doing. They're coming here to listen to us and put together our report. It's exactly what we hired Doug to do, to listen to the community and put it in writing. They're not coming here to tell us you should build this here or there.
So, what I'm trying to say to you is this is very similar to that. We need the architect, we need the information to be able to make a decision as to whether or not you want to fulfill. A hole is not going to be dug until just group says it's okay to dig it. The architect is there to say, yes, you have parking, no, you don't have parking. You need to teach it this, no, it doesn't, you can fix it. You need to have more work divided up within the center itself. Those are issues that I think all of us on this board have to look at. So I'm very much in support of the architect being able to come in and say, this is something that maybe the township would look at, that they'd want to expand. You can't make the decision without having more information.
But I can tell you if I have any intention of it. If there's not 4 people here who are even interested in the concept, it doesn't matter.
When we vote on a concept, if we, right now, I make a motion, if we vote on a concept that we would like to investigate expansion,
What concept?
I'd like to investigate it. That's exactly, I'm repeating your words.
Right, but what I'm saying is we don't have a concept. So you're saying we would vote on a concept, but we don't have one.
To investigate a concept, to have some desire to expand it, but we need to vote on, do we want to look at that?
I'm willing to have that conversation, Sherry, but we've got no data or information. Like, there's nothing.
That's the architect's for it.
No, it's not. I'm asking how many people show up per week. Right now, we're not selling out. So why would we expand in terms of the concept?
Shouldn't people come down here?
30 people. That's less than 1% of the entire population.
How can he make a decision?
Sure, but the rest of us have to pay for it.
Based on the numbers.
I don't run the library, so good point. Go down there and protest that. That has nothing to do with this.
That's an example. You are making terms and saying things that aren't true.
What did I say that's not true?
I heard true.
I said go down there and protest, Maria. I didn't say bring and finish. I did not say you were protesting. I said go down there and protest. So can you please apologize for saying that I was lying?
Lying.
You just accused me of lying.
I accused you of being a statement that wasn't necessarily true.
No, you said I was lying.
Which is not true.
You just said it, Marie.
Is that what she said?
No, hold on. No, Joe.
Joe tries to speak.
I'd like an apology.
I am sorry if I said you were lying.
Thank you. I accept that. I appreciate that, Marie.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
15 years ago, I started at the Senior Center. There was 13 to 18 people Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's all we had. We have gotten to the point now where we're serving 150 or better at Christmas and Thanksgiving. At the last big event they had 103.
No.
Yes. And they are growing. My wife has been there. I haven't been because I'm working, but she said since COVID, it's a whole new batch of people. And it is growing so fast. There's so many new people coming in every day that I think you got to study this and find out, because we went through the kitchen and that we had to get the blueprints after you had very well pleaded our case. And I think we have to, I think we need to move ahead on this.
Any other discussion? Let's take a vote.
We got a motion. Oh, your motion? Second?
Yes.
I think we just got to go ahead and do it. This architectural contract for $4,500 or I'll second it. You got to withdraw your motion. Unless there wasn't a second.
Some people hesitated in this, I would also pay attention to that.
Mr. Bessie? Yes. Ms. Callahan? Yes. Mr. West?
No.
Mr. Rosecrans?
Yes.
Ms. Butler Challenger?
Pause,
Yes. Ms. Howe? Yes. Ms. Wilson?
pause.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm supporting what's going on.
I make the comment.
That was the end of that. So I just felt that it was important for all of you to hear that, because it's hard to go back and watch these meetings. Technology is difficult. I had a hard time finding it. It's not like you can just click on them like you used to. So Judy did a great job presenting. You see the support you had. You see the hesitating board members that you have. I believe what Ryan was referring to is they're not getting the head count numbers, they're not getting the meals served numbers. That was all the information that we had when I was on the board, and I think before that even, you guys were doing that information. Keep in mind that this kitchen expansion was in the works when I came into office in 2012. Troy Feltman sat me down and gave me a copy of the design of the building that he was pitching. I don't know what year that started, but in 2012, it was fully in the works. It was in the capital improvements plan. We had later, after we remodeled the kitchen, we had submitted a drawing from a local builder saying something that we might propose, and got some estimated cost. All of that was actively going on until COVID hit. And then, in my opinion, the senior center has had the biggest smackdown on what they do that I have ever seen in this entire township. Our Parks and Recs has been smacked down in a different direction too. But as far as holding the growth back and holding everybody back and everything's just a cluster, I think the senior center has suffered the worst. We were the last senior center in Michigan to reopen. Without board approval, our superintendent took us back from 5 days a week to 3 days a week, changed the lunch price. The director position is not what it used to be. Linda's there as an assistant that we never had before. The two cooks and the dishwasher have pretty much been standard for several years. So
No cook, no dishwasher when we were there.
right. So right after when we expanded the kitchen, I think is when we brought in the dishwasher. So I'm sorry to take up so much of your time, but I thought it was very important for all of you to hear that, so you know where you stand with the board and which board members you may want to chat with.
I think part of the problem, Cindy, is that we keep referencing expansion.
Yes.
We don't have the parking. I think we need to call it something different. We need to call it what it is. We need a new building. Because we can't expand that building to where that architect has this beautiful drawing of all these new rooms and this whatever, but we don't have the parking to support it.
If I recall, part of the architect's job is to also come up with the extra parking for it.
Yes.
That's part of it.
We'll find out, because when we were investigating this, when I was on the board, we literally went out there, me and a few fellows who actually know these things, with the size of the parking spaces, the space that we have, moving things around over there. There's parking that could be put in on this side by the tower, all the way down, where there's no cemetery there. That's all available. There's a lot of availability. If you take a look at the police parking from their parking spots to their three-sided lean-to, I don't know why we have enough room to do Brodies out there. That could be moved forward probably 10 feet easily, or 6 feet easily, was the opinion of the people that were with me that day. But this is what the architect will tell you, and if it's not feasible, then we need to move on and start finding another site.
And the architect will do that too.
Yes.
If this is not appropriate for public comment, but if the architect finds that one, we don't have the space for everything that we need, or the parking for all that we, as big as we need to get, then the architect will also render a building. How big should it be? How many parking places will it be?
And is that?
That is a part of his responsibility.
And is
Yes.
that in the works now?
We're
Well,
meeting with him tomorrow.
It was passed at the board meeting.
Yes, 6 votes. I called every single one of those people 2 or 3 days before the vote to make sure that they would support us.
So, anyway, that's my public comment. Thank you for bearing with me. Sorry for
Thank you.
some of your time.
Any other public comment? Thank you, Cindy. I just think it's important for all of you to know that we adopted a strategic plan. And I presented this strategic plan to the Board of Trustees. We work for them, right? So this is their plan. So we adopted this strategic plan. I went to the Board of Trustees. I gave them each a copy. I stood in front of them at the podium and said, this is our strategic plan for 21-23. I'm here to discuss this with you. The last Goal 5, expand the senior center. So if they had something to say, if they didn't support it, then they should have told us a year ago. They adopted this. They approved this. They said, move forward. So, and when we had that community conversation, I asked every single one of them to assist us, to give us names, to present us with people that they would like their opinion heard during the conversation. Not one gave me one name. Not one person up there gave me one name. This is their conversation, and they can't invite anyone, and then they have the audacity, when I am standing there in front of them, to tell me we didn't do a good job. I'd like to see them do better. We are working for them, and there's little, if any, appreciation for it, and I think it's very frustrating.
Why did...
But can I just answer your question, Cindy? We have been asking since COVID ended for the numbers. We asked them weekly, we asked for them monthly, we asked for them to be printed in the Friday report. The last Friday report, they were printed. For the month of February, on an average daily basis, we served 83 meals.
That's a far cry from what we...
The last time I have a record from the township, on the daily average of 2019, we were serving 37. We are now serving on the average 83. Mind you, this month had 9 days in it that we served meals. The highest number of meals we served in-house was 70. The highest number of to-goes we served was 36. So the highest day we had in February was 106 meals.
Which is equivalent to Christmas dinner.
No, Christmas we did 161. Thanksgiving we did 151.
Oh, okay.
I have told them that. I've stood in front of them and told them that. And I will tell you that at the last meeting I spoke to in front of them, I told them that they needed to develop a plan, because the CIP requires us to follow goals and objectives that are set forth in the strategic plan adopted by and developed by the Board of Trustees, and they don't have a plan. So I told them to get a plan in. Sorry.
And I've tried to get all this information to you the last 4 years out of the office, and I can't. And I'm on the board. Newly.
All right.
As far as the appreciation, you have to know that every single person over there, every single person sitting in here appreciates what you've been doing. We truly, truly do. We just don't have the, you know what I mean?
I know. Somebody's back home?
Yeah. No.
It's time to rally.
Really?
It's, yes. I mean, you're doing a tremendous job, Judy. That's what I meant to say, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My question is, why did Ryan say it's never been approved? Why did he say, isn't that what I heard?
The last time that the senior center was accepted as a CIP was in follow-up to a proposal that we made, and it included the recommendation from the planning board to the township board that they fund for 2021 $25,000 for a full architectural and engineering study. That was supposed to be funded in 2021. That was the recommendation that went from the planning board to the Board of Trustees. They never funded it. They never funded it. They never funded it.
Have they funded it now?
No. Oh, we have the architect. We have the architect. They have the architect. They have support of the architect.
We're meeting with them tomorrow.
Okay, so the dashboard, of course, they're not, the leadership is not here today. Tony Taylor and Karen have said that they have meetings all day today and they will not be present. Karen said that she's attended the majority of our meetings, and in the last 12 months, the last 15 months, she's been here 5 times. So it's very difficult to get work done without their help.
I
just have a question on that note. Is there any way to reschedule our meetings so they are available for them?
We just did.
I mean, we rescheduled it, not necessarily for them, but I mean, so.
Taylor was at the table.
Oh, is she? Okay. If they can't make it, then we don't have a meeting until then they're available, or what?
Well, or do we have a special meeting when they can come?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's her job to be here.
We are now
It's her
on
job to be here.
old business, and you had a motion you wanted to make.
That we move to a work session?
We're now in a work session. Is all those in favor?
I don't know.
It just means that we're not sitting at the dais, that we're sitting at a table. All those in favor of a work, I would second that. All those in favor of a work session, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say same sign. I'll explain it to you. I'll explain it to you. All right, so PR, guest pass, we have been asking Taylor and Karen for guest meal passes since November of 2022. And I have not seen any action on that. The last thing that I heard said here was that Taylor would check with the treasurer and she would let us know when they would be available. So I guess we could go over there and ask Jennifer what the deal is, but we have no administration here to help us today, so we can't answer that
So
question.
do we ask her in our minutes, then will we be asking Taylor for that
Well,
information? How do we put it in writing to Taylor? We're asking for this information. In our minutes?
well, yes, it can be in the minutes, but we can write her an email. She knows what we want.
I just think we need to build a paper trail.
Who's gonna write the email?
I probably should, huh? Nancy should,
Nancy
yes.
can email Taylor.
Yes, Nancy should. It's her idea.
Okay.
So, under outreach and activities, services and activities, since the conversation, have talked with Clinton County Transit and also the Bath Library, and they're both more than anxious to help us and to work with us. So I suggested that perhaps we could have the Clinton County Transit Authority be on our board. And their director is not a Bath Township resident, so they can't. So I've invited her to come to our April meeting. I had a long talk with her on the phone this morning. I suggested things like going around the neighborhoods and picking people up for lunch. She loves that idea, and taking them home after lunch. She would do a regular lunch pickup route. I asked her if we organized it so that there were maybe 10 people who wanted to go to the Broad, MSU's museum. She had a wonderful idea. We'll have to take you there. So she wants to have Bath be her picture-perfect program. She wants to do as much as she can for us and our residents, and she wants to make it kind of like a showcase for those services that they can bring to a small town, which is really exciting. So my question becomes one of, whose responsibility is this? She has a April 4th meeting with Jenna. I said, great. That's what I like to hear. But is it Jenna's responsibility to outline all the potential partnership arrangements that we could make with someone like that? Or is it our responsibility with Jenna to work out what the possibilities are and approach this woman together?
Number one, who is this?
She's the director of the Clinton County Transit Authority. Her name is Melissa.
Didn't she come and speak at the senior center?
Dwight, after the conversation, when Dwight heard that we were interested in transportation, Dwight Washington, our county commissioner, invited her to the senior center for lunch, and she came. And Jenna asked her I asked Jenna if she could speak for a few minutes before lunch, which she did, and it interested a lot of people. At the senior center, they wanted to learn more, so I asked Jenna if she would reach out to her, which she has done.
I think this is wonderful, and I think that it's unfortunate that we have to have someone else that's excited about helping us with the senior center instead of in-house here that wants to reach out and bring stuff to us. I think, yes, if it takes an outsider to do that, let's get them in here.
But whose job is it?
Whose job is it, yes?
And I am so unsure what this board or group or committee's responsibility is anymore. I'm
Yes.
totally,
I think
Lost.
really let her do it because she needs to have some responsibility. So I think let her do it.
Just wait. Anyone else from the,
I thought we should have talked to Jenna directly.
Exactly.
We're not always supposed to talk to Jenna about doing anything. When you're forbidden, you were beaten to a pulp over discussing anything with her. That's my opinion.
and it's not just this, I mean, you
It's
should,
everything. She can't talk to Jenna because that's disallowed. It's
Weren't you
illegal.
just told that you couldn't talk to somebody about something?
I was told I couldn't talk to Brenda about a bike ride that Friends of Park Lake is having. Cindy.
I guess I need to apologize, I just talked to Jenna.
Oh,
so you're not on the board. So
She introduced herself.
It doesn't matter, board members are not restricted from talking to staff, period. Whoever's telling you that, whoever's telling you that needs to
Somebody's overstepping their
authority.
Authority.
But I understand exactly what this committee is supposed to be and what it's supposed to be doing. This group was started in 2008. At that time, Paula Clark was the board rep, and then when I came in 12, I was the board rep for 8 years. What is supposed to be happening with these types of things is your director should be reaching out to this board at your meetings and get your input on what you would like to see happen. You're the workhorse. She's the representation, supposed to be. So with the directors changing so frequently, I'm sure they don't really understand what they're supposed to be doing. But this board needs two directors. She will not be able to do it on her own.
We're not allowed to speak to her. Marie?
Yes, my comment would be, one, you guys do such a great job, I love this committee, but her job description has been changed, and it does not include exactly what Cindy's saying, and that's part of the problem. As Judy has mentioned, she has gone numerous times, but at times she's been told that's not in the job description.
Who changed the job description?
not us.
Carrie.
Well, that's a first, because
Right,
this
we
committee
always
has
wrote-
always written the job description.
Dennis, I'm sorry.
I had a meeting with Karen, one of the only meetings I've ever been able to get with her this year. And I point out, asked her, is it true that we're not supposed to have anything to do with Jenna? And her comment to me was, the reason, and I asked the reason, she said the reason for that is because she just found out from interviewing with prior coordinators that the coordinators have been quitting so frequently because of our board. That was paraphrasing, but that's basically what Karen told me. She said that they couldn't tolerate our board or
Well,
coming
if
to
you're
the
not tough enough
meetings.
to deal with this board, you're not tough enough to hold that position.
Exactly.
Us? How many coordinators have there been?
Two.
A lot.
A
There
big
was
couple.
like a couple that
Board
went
members
after
or?
just a few
No,
months.
coordinators. Coordinators.
We had some that came after just a couple of weeks.
There was Cindy, she got,
Well, she's talking about the recent one, the
Since
recent
COVID.
turnover.
There was just,
Two.
Well, she was talking about pre-COVID ones too.
I'm not even sure.
That's not true. I'm sorry. Pre-COVID, I would have known that. That's not true.
Right.
So
No,
anyway, go to school, just asking how many coordinators have.
Back to the table.
okay, so, what do we do about that issue, about us wanting to have that Clinton transfer person do those things?
Well, the question is, who defines collaboration and how is collaboration and how is partnership defined?
Okay.
And who sets those parameters and who provides the leadership? If Jenna or whoever were the coordinator were at the table with us, we would plan this together. All of us, we would be a team. But she's not there. And so I believe I asked on this agenda, maybe I didn't, but,
Yeah, how should this move forward?
right, how should this move forward? It's still my question. I have left it that she's coming to our meeting on April 20th. The Clinton County Transit Director, will be at our meeting on April the 20th. And I've asked her after she has a meeting with Jenna on April the 4th, if she would get with me so I would know how we should move forward.
I also have an issue with Jen only works 12 hours a week. It's in her job description now, 12 hours.
No, at the senior center, she works 13 hours or 12 hours at home.
She's paid for 23 hours a week.
Oh, I did not know
Right,
that.
she gets paid to be in the senior center 12 hours. But she's paid 23 hours a week. So that's why I made that comment at the beginning of my discussion in front of the board 2 weeks ago. She's paid for 23 hours a week. She should be in the office 23 hours a week in the senior center, 23 hours a week. We're done with that.
Anyway, okay, so the question is, how should this move forward? And none of us have an answer, right?
It's a question for Karen and Taylor,
Okay, so
and they're not here to answer the question.
I was correct, you don't have an answer. So we'll look at under old business.
Clinton County students to be at our April 20th board meeting. I missed what's going on. You're going to join us and then they're talking to Jenna, or they're talking to
She has a
Jenna
meeting with
first?
Jenna on April the 4th.
April 4th, okay. Thank you.
All right, so we are now, I will say also that I went into the library. Not only was the library president at the conversation, but there were representatives from the library at each of the conversations, and I wanted to just talk with them about how we could partner better with them and what opportunities there were. And the first one I spoke about with them was the opportunity that we have to reach people who are shut in. And when we send those meals home, we would love to put something from the library in that bag that talks about their home delivered book service or their books on tape, right? Their audio books. They were so excited about that. They thought that was a great idea. And I said, we would like to discuss other ways that we can partner together. I said, book clubs, for an example. So they're eager and ready and anxious to talk to us. But again, it's that same question that is,
How should this move forward?
how do we move forward with this? I don't know that.
I think maybe you put it in writing and request that Jenna schedule a time for the library to come.
Who are we send that to?
Hmm?
Who are you gonna send that to?
Karen?
Karen, okay.
She sent us an email that said that we weren't going to have support from the staff and why I said that.
Anymore, or was that just today?
Just today.
Yeah,
What do you mean support?
today, but.
For them being here at our meeting.
They would never be allowed to attend our meetings.
I didn't even understand that. I
Oh,
thought
that was a
today.
clarification of the meeting that you had, because your response to the summary of the meeting that you guys had was that Jenna would attend our meetings, and she said, to be clear, her response was back to us that, no, Jenna will not be attending your meeting.
But she didn't say she wouldn't be.
No, she just
No,
says,
she didn't
Jenna
say
or
Karen
anyone
doesn't.
at the senior center will.
So Jenna does not attend and she does not provide reports. She does not communicate with this group at all.
And
She's
she's not
the
in-
director.
And she's not in the office.
And none of that makes any sense, and you're not allowed to talk to her.
Right.
So this is absolute crap.
Oh,
Quote me on that one.
no, I mean, we know that.
I think we need to put it in writing, that we have requested this from Karen on this date, requested this from Karen on this date, and we need to start coming to the township board meetings and say, we have requested this, we haven't received a response. Will you please order her to respond?
But we
I
actually
think
got
you can't talk to her.
her
And
response
that-
was no.
Just don't talk to her. Nancy and I had a conversation also about that same exact thing, and we discussed documentation. If you send her an email, you say, here's here's the time, the date, and what the information was, and if you didn't get a response, send it again 2 or 3 days later. Document whether or not you got a response. So we have
Document a paper trail.
Paper trail, repeat,
Yeah.
document, whether it's Karen or Taylor or Jenna or me or anybody. Just document it so that we have something. You can say, well, Karen never answered my email. That doesn't go over very well unless you say, I sent her an email on Monday, the 10th, I sent her one on Friday, the 18th. It's documented. We have proof. And if you have to make a copy of the email, staple it to your little document sheet.
Cheryl?
Whose decision is it ultimately that we here cannot speak to Jenna? Who gets to make that decision? Can the board decide that this is not appropriate?
It would seem that would be the board's decision.
Right.
Because of the way her contract is designed,
Karen?
Karen's contract, there is the question as to who has that responsibility. From my standpoint, you have the responsibility to come to the board, and that's what Judy's been doing. That's a one-on-one, and that's the way it should be.
So,
Because advisory means exactly what that says, and Judy has said it repeatedly. Advise the board of trustees.
the Board of Trustees.
Correct. What it
Okay.
is that's needed and when it's needed, and that's part of the documentation.
Okay, so we don't go to Karen, we go to the Board of Trustees.
Yes. Karen is an ex officio. What that means in legal terms, or less legal terms, she's responsible for every committee
Okay.
that we have. She chooses to send someone else, she can do that.
Yep.
But that's in her contract. She picks and chooses which one that she goes to and which one she oversees. To oversee this one, no, they have no vote. She comes and she can talk and she can do whatever it is she wants to do, but she has no vote.
Correct.
So that has to be understood. When in fact that is stated, and she's coming with her opinions, does not mean that this board, which I love this board because you're very strong women and men.
Because we're seniors.
And, well, whether it is, I think even when you were young, you were strong in what you were doing. Means that you speak your mind and what it does. You make the vote, and that's exactly what you're responsible for. You make the vote as to what happens and where you go. Advisory means you do come to the Board of Trustees with the question. So I don't know if that answered it. It's kind of a long way around.
Okay, so
Cindy?
whenever we have one here, we go to the board.
That's,
For.
that's right. Jane,
I have a suggestion that as a board, that you organize the things that are not going right. The things that you are concerned about. Not only the good things you want to do and you want to accomplish, you can start with that, and then say, here's our holdups. Because we are not allowed to speak to staff, have been told not to speak to staff. Because staff does not attend our meeting, because staff work is
We
only
have no
told.
data.
But detail this all out in a letter, send it to the board, and ask to be, each and every one of them, ask to have Judy and have everybody here come to the podium and have the board recognize the information you had sent to them, ask that the letter be included in their packet, out there on Facebook. I mean, you need to contact the board, because what I'm seeing going on here is not the way things should be done
no.
in America.
I also have to add something so that you understand. I'm sitting here because I have been told that because I'm not a part of the board, that's not my responsibility. So I can't come into the building unless it's open and for me to attend this meeting and speak as the authority. That has to be questioned. My authority is with the Board of Review and to run the meetings and not to be in this building after 5 o'clock, only if it's open to the public.
Okay.
So when I make that statement and you look at me, what is the answer to that? I'm answering from a public's point of view, just so you understand that.
Yeah.
And that's what it is right now. Because I can't,
You don't have authority to talk. Okay.
that's pretty much, I guess, I'm trying to understand, I have two hats.
You never really did to begin with. You
Well,
just do it.
but, yeah, but that's the way it is.
It is your personal opinion of how things should go.
That is what my understanding of how the situation is
Okay.
organized. Thank you.
Oh, we're delighted to see you today.
Any other conversation on that topic? Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the event, and Kim, would you lead us through that conversation, please?
Sure. I handed out a couple of pages of advertising and promotion that I put together. Our committee just met yesterday, and it's the same thing I handed out yesterday. And
Do you have something that we're supposed to be looking at?
yeah, I didn't give it to you. It's
Cheryl has one there.
it's similar to what I already gave to Sarah Judy. They're right there. It's just, it might be a little more updated since I gave it to you a week ago.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We've got lots of media, advertising, and I put together lots of community calendar advertising. I still have to get together with Elaine. I still have to get together with finding out about some pricing for radio. I thought it would be good to have it on WICL and Duke. And then there's some TV spots that I still have to find out pricing or availability on that. And if anybody sees anything on there that, or isn't on there, let me know and I'll investigate checking that out. Elaine Hansen is joining Cindy Cronk and helping us to promote and advertise and get donations. They're going to work hard at knocking on doors starting next week. Cindy sent out 268 business letters with flyers. Taylor confirmed that she put our advertisement with the sewer bill, and I just saw at the front desk today that they have an advertisement, a large advertisement for us with their March newsletter. Right here. I put together a small handout for the to-go orders for the people that aren't at the senior center. We just stacked them in with the lunches, and I figured I'd do that again for 2 more meals. This is what it looks like, and it's a nice handout for anybody that says, oh, I'm going to give this to my friend, and stick it in their purse and then hand it to their friend. So we did that a week ago, and I'm going to put it in with the meatloaf lunch at the end of this month, and then the Easter lunch in the middle of next month. Here's the Bath newsletter, and it gives 2/3 of the
Going to the sewer bill. So everybody got a sewer bill.
I've seen it.
She said that,
Right. No, so they're coming out with the property tax one too. The next one will go is one that goes to absolutely everybody.
yeah, it's really nice. I'm super excited about that. And I asked Taylor to put, if we can, put Kenyon Valley on the digital sign out of the street, and she hasn't received a response from me yet on that.
Document, please.
But again,
Yes, she did it right. Yep.
it's in an email.
Everything I do is an email.
Right.
I don't call any. So you want to go ahead with the concessions, Jean?
The concessions, all the water's purchased. I gave the cookie order to the kitchen today. I'm going to be contacting Taylor to buy the baggies. Mary suggested that I contact Taylor to buy the baggies. They're baggies that, well, they have a little design on the front, but they're self-sealing.
Here's what we were looking at. We had 3 different sizes, and we decided, and the kitchen decided this size was best.
They have a scoop for that.
And then Mary said that she thought it would be nice if we had a cute cellophane instead of just as a black bag, and we found sell the things that we like that were less than the Ziploc bags.
Wow.
And it'd be easier for the staff to see.
And so Mary researched that and found it.
She said that it's the size of the big cookie that they sell for 50 cents. I said, that's fine, and they have a scoop for that. Because I said, if you don't have the right scoop, I would not give you that, but they have it. And so I think other than that, I think we're doing well. Good.
Mary's very excited to be helping us. She's very pleased that we asked her.
Mary?
Mary, pleased that we asked her.
Mary?
Mary,
Are we allowed to talk to the kitchen staff?
No.
Oh, geez, you guys, just.
No,
Mary came to us and said she wanted to meet with us.
Okay.
Mary came to us.
Mary's not allowed to tell me how much she sold at the end of it.
She's not allowed?
Not allowed any of us to talk.
What if you do, what's the punishment?
I don't know.
We didn't, we
Go to jail.
didn't travel time. Okay, so the entertainers, I wasn't having any luck finding a lighting person. I shared that with the entertainers. They were just touching base with me to see how things were going, and I said I was still struggling on the lights. And he said, well, they can bring their own lights, and then they, I guess, have some sort of tree lights or something that they can use. And he said, this is no big deal. We'll just make sure that I'm supposed to contact them a week before the event so that they all know which sound system to bring and which lighting system to bring, and they'll be depending on how many ticket sales we got. I'm not sure why that is, but that's what it says.
Probably the volume from sound.
And we're super excited that we got our revised contract signed within a short amount of time, like a week's time. We didn't have time. That added $500 for the sound system on it, so it's legal now, not just a hearsay thing.
We're not selling this.
So, the parking lot, I printed out these signs that we're going to wrap around the orange cones because we are transforming 16 parking spaces that are near the front door to handicap for the night of, and we're going to have somebody stand near it with a handicap sign to make sure that people don't just go in there because they're empty. And then I've got a parking lot full sign that we're going to put on sawhorses across the entrance so that people know that that entrance is closed and where overflow is going into the bus garage area or the elementary school. The school system that we're using for quite a few volunteers, the Honor Society said that the school would not allow students to be in the parking lot, and so I've filled those places with friends mostly. And the silent auction, Dennis is going to update us on that.
Okay, on the silent auction so far, I've got 13 items, and we've got 4 gift cards or certificates. And as I get the stuff in, I catalog it, I do the research to figure out what the minimum bid should be, what its retail price is. We're putting all that on something like this. It's going to go at each item. And we are, Cindy mentioned that we're going to need some blank ones that just have numbers in case we need a second page. But actually I've got everything, I got them in tubs, which I'll be bringing over, storing them in tubs at my garage. And all the certificates and gift cards, Cindy will be storing those. So Cindy, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, Trustee Kellerman's not aware of this yet, but when we get out of here today, her and I are going to go out and knock doors and solicit. We're going to get like Jimmy's Pub and Bulligers and City Limits. Okay, I understand. And get some donations and sell some ads. Also, too, today, and this probably needs approval by you folks, is I made an offer to BSNA Software that I could possibly offer them a corporate sponsorship for the price of $500 if I can get that approved by this group. But they would have to provide like a banner out front that says corporate sponsor.
And would they want tickets for that, Cindy? I mean, would you give them 10 tickets, or?
Well, I didn't go there, but I'm sure you get more money if you get tickets. But the majority of the people are young IT people with families.
Right.
They've got a lot of, and I work with that group quite frequently. A lot of them have a lot of children.
Yeah.
And they really don't go out much. And very few of them live around here.
Right.
They live all over. Like, the happy out front lives in Eaton Rapids. A lot of them live in Tuama and Portland.
So you want our support for your requesting a $500 sponsorship from BS&A
For
Software?
corporate sponsorship.
I will make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll say that too.
Is there any
It's for
discussion?
$500
Then they get to show.
and they get to show their big sign or whatever they have.
That's basically
You
it.
know, we're also talking,
Basically, it.
Plus
we also talking like a full-page
I'm
ad,
not
in
going to
the-
offer them tickets in this way.
In the
Or,
program.
a full-page ad in the program as well.
Yeah, with an ad, sorry.
All those in favor say aye.
I second that motion.
All those opposed, same sign. Thank you. That would be great if you could approach them that way.
I'm going to do that today. I'm
Right.
time set up with Amy to go meet with them.
And Elaine, do you have anything you want to add about the silent auction?
I've got some paperwork. I don't know how to send it to Cindy.
Could you speak a little bit louder?
I said I have some paperwork from another silent auction. We have done 2 of them at Michigan State Rabbit Breeders Association, and we just finished 2 of them. And so I have some paperwork that might be helpful.
You've learned
to
some
you.
lessons, in other words. Oh, we love lessons, don't we?
We
Great,
love experience.
Yeah.
great, great.
That's why when she started talking to me, I'm like, I need you.
Great. Great.
I was supposed to get a quilt, and Marilyn Washington passed away, so I will not be getting a quilt.
Aw.
I don't want to go ask the family.
Well, ask Dorothy.
Oh, that's.
Wait, I think we would be honored to donate in her name.
Yes. Dana, I speak to Dwight a lot. I'll ask him if it's appropriate.
Okay.
Because she loved the senior center.
Oh, I know, she was going to donate
Yeah.
to the senior center, and it was happened at the quilt meeting that she was going to donate something for them also, a quilt for them also, so I'm not comfortable asking.
I'll just bring it up with Dwight and see what he says.
Okay,
Not a problem.
so.
I'll let you know.
I'm sure they're wondering.
Elaine?
Yes, one thing that I was just at a basketball game for my great nephew, and they gave everybody a ticket as they came in the door, and then they did drawings during the thing for, I would donate some candles or, whatever anybody wanted to bring in, but it was just something. But it was kind of nice, it made people stay longer because they had a ticket,
The door prize.
a door prize.
I think the only conflict we would have is the door prizes are the things we're probably going to have in silent auctions.
Okay.
Unless it was something really small, like, if somebody wanted to donate coffee cups or something like
Or
that.
the corporate gifts that you were talking about, the pens or the
Right.
keychains or
Kitchens,
whatever.
stuff like that.
But we can't really interrupt the concert to pull a raffle ticket either, right?
No.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a really good
Is
idea.
there an intermission?
Yes, but then that's when we're going to be serving
Okay.
food in silent
And
auction
that's when we shut down the silent auction.
after that. So,
Anything else on the event?
Jim, did you
Yes,
wanna-
I'm not sure.
Yes, I know this.
So the ticket, we could use a couple more volunteers on the ticket schedule for next month. And we talked about, as a group, that we were only going to let the board members or township staff check out tickets without paying for them. And we've made a decision that Elaine Hansen's on our team, and so we've offered to let her check a number of tickets out at a time without paying. The senior center has sold, what did you see today? More than 50? Is that what you said? Because it was 50 the other
50 was
day.
missing, so it was at 154.
Okay,
so-
so around 54 tickets-ish, and then the township had sold 12. The entertainers told me that we should expect to sell 40% of the tickets the week before the show. And I've heard that elsewhere too, that that's just how it works with people, they wait till the last minute. we need to figure out, and we'll talk about that next, who's going to get free tickets and how we're going to manage that. So, the lanyards. So we put together, you want to hold that up? Then we put together the lanyards. I wrote just volunteer on it. We talked to the committee last night that we might want to let Jean just use a marker and write people's names on
And their
it.
first name on there.
Yeah, and that paper slides in and out, so that's something that we're going to consider.
Do you have those already? So,
Yeah,
We do.
okay.
I already have.
CSNA has those too.
They're already made out.
Wally Gordon has offered to operate the curtains. He's actually operated it for this particular show. So, Wally Gordon from the Senior Center. He wanted to know how that curtain's operated, and I went over there during the museum meeting and took a bunch of pictures, so he knows exactly what he's looking at now. Taylor ordered those lanyards for us. I picked them up. Them storing them with the silent auction thing. So where we Guy Alzenheimer has offered to be our MC. Judy gracefully wrote up what we wanted him to say for the introduction, intermission, and in closing. He came to one of our meetings and met with us. He did say, if you guys remember, that he's like an impersonator and he tells jokes and stuff, like did we want him to entertain people during intermission? But we kind of didn't respond to him, and I think it's kind of because we thought maybe we wanted people out of the auditorium to do the silent auction and concessions. Is that what you would agree on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then we'll just leave it the way that ended.
Well, if he's funny, I'd like to hear something.
Yeah.
The last time,
And we could bring him in at the beginning of the second part, maybe.
It's 20 minutes.
last time Diane threw some jokes out, she threw one out about, is Al Rosecrans in the crowd? Al, I want to let you know we're having mashed potatoes and gravy every day this year. You know, stuff that people in there say all the time. So she did that during the introduction.
During the intermission.
My introduction.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She like opened up, hey, welcome, blah, blah, blah.
I would think if he were to do anything like that, it would be prior to 7 o'clock. It would be as people were coming in.
Just to warm the crowd up.
Yeah, warm the crowd up, yeah.
If he's free.
Good idea.
Yeah, it would be.
But not during intermission, because intermission, you want them out of there.
Right. You want them out at the silent auction.
Or even if you announce that.
Or eating cookies.
Okay, so then this is kind of a tough one for me to wrap my head around.
But going back to the tickets, we decided, I believe, that the people that are wearing lanyards, if you're a volunteer and you're wearing a lanyard, you would be getting into the concert free.
You wouldn't need a ticket, you can go sit in the back
You
row.
don't need a ticket, you just sit wherever there's a seat.
Right.
All right, so with that in mind, I just wanted it to be clear that we as volunteers are not going to be able to see the entire show. And what I did was I put together a schedule of the people that are going to be helping us. And like there's 2 entertainer assistants, and they're not going to be seeing the show. The curtain guy isn't going to be sitting and watching the show. The ushers, and Cindy, I want your input on this, is I've got, for the concessions, I figure they'll see 75% of the show. They're going to have to leave the show a little bit early, show up a little bit late to be there for intermission.
Right.
And the MC isn't going to be seeing the show. So I've got 6 people that are going to be taking tickets, offering programs, and helping people to sit.
Well, you've also got the parking lot people that will be coming in.
Yeah, they'll be there. They'll be able to see most of the show. I got that at 95% or something. But
The silent auction people, we kind of have a little bit of advantage because the silent auction is right next to the doors. So while you're watching the silent auction table while the event's going on, you would literally step inside the door.
Hear
and
it.
watch.
I was gonna say the doors should be closed, so they're not hearing
Well,
the
we can
clamoring,
hear
that's getting the packages ready and stuff, and,
They had them open last year, and it wasn't, or last time, and it wasn't a problem.
oh, it was, okay.
Yeah.
So that's what I was wondering. I was wondering, because we've got, for the silent auction, we've got Dana, Nancy, Dennis, and Cindy. And I know you said at our meeting that you wanted 3 people to help you with the silent auction.
Ann Elsenheimer's gonna help on site.
Okay.
I'm gonna drag Cheryl, she doesn't know there's gonna be there.
Um,
And Elaine will be there.
Oh, well, you need one,
We're there to help.
So cashing out.
oh, okay,
Cashing out is the
okay.
big thing.
so that's what I wanted to talk about.
Settle
So-
and cashing out.
okay.
So after intermission, I'm wondering if we can work it so that the folks on the senior center board can see the second half of the show. If you can work with the high schoolers to pack up and organize, or that's just too much and it's chaotic. I didn't know if you
They
wanted
don't know what to
us to do just the cashing out, or if you actually wanted us to help with the organization and the packing up too.
I need help after intermission, because the bids are all done.
From us or from the
From
high
adults.
schoolers?
I don't wanna work with kids.
Okay, that's clear, okay.
Not on that. It's too technical and just, they're all just having fun and they're all too cute and they're gonna joke around and smack somebody with one of the items and hide something, they're kids.
That's true.
She's worked with them before, sounds like.
I know. My life has been surrounded by kids ever since I was a kid.
Yes, Kim?
So, with that in mind, the folks that are helping with the silent auction are probably not gonna see but the first half of the show. I don't know how long it is expected to take. You think,
What, to get things,
to get the silent auction, are you gonna be needing us for the whole second half of the show?
it just depends, probably not. So what, if you've never done a silent auction before, what happens is you have the items out with the bid sheets.
Right,
That item has a number, then each bidder has a number.
right.
So, you go to the table and you're like, okay, item number 1 goes to bidder number so-and-so. So we have to have, bidder number 2 stuff here, bidder number 1 stuff over here. You gotta pull all the items, get them all together, go through the list, and then write down what that person, bidder number 2 has bought 6 items for a total of this. Make sure all those items are there. Take the invoice, basically, to one of the items and have it grouped separately where people cannot come and paw through it. I had a problem with that last time. People were like, well, no, I know that I got that. It's like, no, you did not. Well, I know I had the highest bid and blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, after you walked away, she walked up here. It was still open. And
Can't they be bagged up?
seniors, especially,
Can they be bagged?
are hard to work with. No, they're confused. They're hard to work with. And,
Jane has a comment. Can we bag all this up? After it's done.
yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
if we can get large bags.
Well, I can bring some trash bags that you can't see through.
Wait a minute, I thought you wanted you wanted the bag.
At the end, everything for number 1, everything for number 2,
Oh.
everything. So people aren't gonna be pawing through it, it's gonna be banana
Yeah,
bag.
they're gonna wanna see, they're gonna see it before they pay.
Well,
That we
people
need
in
people
the
to
bag
find
can
through
see
it. Yeah, that's not a bad idea at all.
Or even paper bags for
I was
minors.
thinking we could
Oh,
get
yeah.
like 3x5, I have 3x5 colored cards, and we could actually tape it to the packaging and say this bidder, and then maybe list to the
Well, they're
bidder.
bidding on it.
So, this is too much detail?
Yeah.
For a meeting?
Okay, thank you for checking in.
Anything else? Kim, anything else?
No, I'm good.
No?
Good job, Kim.
I would just like to express my sincere appreciation to Kim for being so well organized.
Thank you.
She's providing amazing leadership for this event, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so we're now on 6E, the community conversation. The Board of Trustees approved the architect. Kim and I will be meeting with him Thursday afternoon. I've invited Cheryl because she's our board representative to meet with us. I've invited Karen to stop into the meeting so we can find out if she wants a letter of agreement or a full-blown contract and how to move forward. If she does not come to the meeting, I am asking him to write a letter of agreement between the two of them that will outline the work that he will provide. Nancy?
What time is this meeting?
3 o'clock.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes. So Doak, I've had conversations with Doak. We've discussed two things that we might have a conversation with him and Karen about that he would lead. One of them, Dana, gets right back to your question, what is our role? What are we supposed to be doing? And if you can't, if we can't cooperate, you won't cooperate with us, how do we move forward? And the other one, which we desperately need, is to improve communication between us and them and find a way that we can work better together. So Doak has volunteered to facilitate those conversations. He's working with Karen
Curly?
to develop the time frame for this. I will say that Karen wrote a letter that was received by many people that said that she will have time for nothing in the next year, 2023 and 2024, except the road and sewer projects, and nothing else would catch her attention. So,
How can a public official,
If I've been writing,
yes, ma'am.
could you send that to me, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Me too.
Yes, ma'am. Anyways, new business recycling. Jean wanted,
I asked at the senior center one day, I had a tissue box that was empty, and I collected them, and I said, where's your recycling? We don't recycle.
we did,
We used to.
we did.
even styrofoam, I mean, we did it all.
Yeah.
I don't know, what I would like to ask is, does the senior center recycle?
No.
And
They have cardboard boxes, I see them putting stuff in cardboard boxes.
Not
is
for-
then, do the cardboard boxes get recycled, or are they taken out to the trash? I know, I've seen the box of boxes.
When we set up the recycling program years ago, we even went to Granger, and Granger brought the recycling bins for the senior center so that we could recycle
I haven't seen
those
the bin.
boxes,
I don't know where the
those
bins are.
cardboard boxes.
There's no bin in the senior center.
No, I know.
And does Bath Township, when you recycle, does everything go in one recycling bin, or do you have to separate it out?
Do you know, Sherry?
Don't know. Does anybody?
What, I was talking to her, we used to have recycle bins in the shed.
Right.
Tin, the cans, soup cans, plastic, not plastic, but we used to recycle.
Does Granger require that they be separated?
No.
Well,
Then how do we get a recycling bin put inside the senior center for recycling?
Where would you put it?
You would ask Karen.
now, things like styrofoam need to be rinsed, we never rinsed them, but, I think Doug used to take them.
I'm not saying necessarily from the kitchen, although I think the kitchen should be recycling too, and hopefully they are.
We
But
used to.
I'm thinking it goes to the trash.
I think it does too. So, the question we got here is, does the senior center recycle?
And please obtain a recycling bin for inside the senior center.
So would you write that to Karen? Would you ask Karen about that?
Sure.
After that,
Originally, Dana bought recycling containers, I recall that. Then after Dana, the recycling got so big that we ended up, at some point, we actually brought in a Granger container out in the parking lot for everyone to use. I don't know if that still goes. When I left in, after 2020, we were still recycling. Although we were paying people to haul our shredded paper away, when in fact we have dumpsters at the school where you can dump any kind of paper and magazines and they make money off it. But instead we would pay somebody to dump it or haul it away.
we did have paper in a little thing.
We have a paper gator.
Yeah, there's a shredder right out here, and, they pull those big bags out, they could go right up to the school, but I don't believe that was ever happening either, but it could.
Good question.
School makes money off the weight of the
Yeah.
container.
Oh, really?
All right, great, Jean, thank you so much. Superintendent
I
is...
have
Oh,
I
I'm
have a
sorry.
question for the new business. did anything come out of that discussion of the last one that Yoke facilitated?
He didn't. He wasn't there.
He wasn't at that meeting.
Oh, I thought it was.
We had a follow-up conversation with Karen about how to move forward, and part of the recommendation was that Dave Doak be brought in.
Okay, okay.
So I did send minutes out from that meeting, notes.
Oh, you know what, I think I got it, yeah.
Yeah.
I have one more question before you move. The popcorn machine that was in the senior center.
It's in,
I would like to request that that be put back in the senior center.
it is in the basement, I was told, so.
Right.
So when you do the recycling memo, why don't you ask her what that popcorn machine is?
Request
The popcorn popper
to
bag.
move Hopper back to
The senior center with the supplies.
Yeah. Not the old popcorn though, please.
If there's an issue with
Old butter.
COVID or whatever they want to use for an excuse, it can be pre-bagged.
So then, does that become an added expense for the senior center popcorn?
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
about $300 a year.
We have plenty of money in the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, superintendent's report, the superintendent isn't here. Would the supervisor like to get a report?
I'm not a supervisor here.
No.
All right,
No, you're still
So,
supervisor.
we have a BOT report next, our Board of Trustees representative.
I think we've been through everything we talked about in the meetings. Unless we've approved the representation of what things will cost.
Architect.
So that's about.
Would anyone have questions or comments that they'd like to make to our
Anything
BOT
try to answer that about?
representative, our
That's a
trustee?
good point.
I would like to not actually apologize, but give you my personal apology for someone else's behavior for the way you were treated the last board meeting. You were doing a really good job representing this committee and the wants for the seniors, and you were treated disrespectfully, and I really hate seeing that
I
happen.
think at my next meeting, I will probably stand up and throw my books on the table and say, children who behave this way need to have a timeout in the hallway. That is my feeling of what happened to Marie. And I may do that, and I may be booted out of the meeting for it, and, but that's the way I feel. And I've had it.
I'm just sorry that I have been treated like that several times by board members, and it's inappropriate, number one, it's uncalled for. It gives you added stress that you don't deserve when you're just trying to do your job, and I would like for you to not let that get to you any more than you can.
Yeah, when I was reappointed to the board, this board, Brian said in the microphone, "Oh my God, we have to put up with you for another 4 years?" Right to my face, as I'm standing up there at the podium. Oh my God, we have to put up with you for another 4 years? Nothing. Nothing.
I would have said, excuse me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have said it was early enough.
I would take that as a joke, but that's, I wasn't there. I was not there.
He's not joking, he's very serious about it. He's very serious.
Okay, so public
And I'm
comment?
not joking.
I have public comment.
Public comment?
Actually, name is Marie Howell, and number one, I love this.
Public person, Marie.
I'm a public person today. I'm wearing my public person hat, so I can't come in the building. But just to let you know, I just found out that Elaine does the tickets. I didn't know who was selling tickets. $100 worth of tickets. Who I give it to? I give it to. There you go.
She's got a kid.
There you go.
They're in my truck.
You'll get that right here. I have no issue with that. I will do it. The other thing, I want to remind you, and I wrote it down, I said, keep working hard. This is what I put down. I said, regardless of whether the font is imaginary or whether it's real,
Thank you.
keep working hard at it, because that's what an advisory committee does. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marie, appreciate it.
So anyway, I'll sit down now.
One thing I wanted to add for the concert event, if someone would like to reach out to Hawk Hollow or Timber Ridge, they will probably let you borrow a couple of golf carts to transport people from their vehicles to the door and back. They're really good about that. Timber Ridge seems to be the easiest to get a hold of and the easiest to work with unless they change management. I've never been denied a golf cart for an event. And then literally, someone dropped us off, we picked them up, we rode them here, to Bath or whatever. I had a charger.
Do you know anyone up there? I mean,
I really don't.
because I personally have asked myself, and I've always been turned down.
Have you? Well,
So,
maybe
you know somebody.
Who do you talk to?
I can't remember.
No,
No,
who's Judy
it's
talking
been
to?
a couple of years. I can try to make contact with, I think Candy Kessler is on vacation, I saw on Facebook.
Well, we have until the 29th.
Yeah, so typically I would contact her, and then she would tell me who to contact over there, and I'll let them know that you're gonna call.
I thought too we could talk to the woman from the blue bus, Clinton
I
Transit.
had messages of the person I was supposed to talk to, but they didn't call me back, and it's on my to-do list shortly to follow up again on that.
For rides for the night, is that what?
Yeah, shuttle service for them to have it help us. And then Sherry offered to drive the township van shuttle too. So
Yes, so we have the township van
Okay.
for shuttling people.
Yeah, but that's hard to get in and out of.
A golf cart would be a whole lot easier.
Yeah, it would be a lot more breezier. It's April though, the end of April. It has snowed, it's the end of April before.
So let's discuss that and make that happen. I will get with Guy Elsenheimer about the lights. I'm a little confused as to why he can't get into the room. I'll just call the superintendent.
No, it's okay. They're gonna bring their own lights, and they're not gonna charge us anything more than the.
Because it's gonna be the same, it's not gonna be the same as the spotlights coming out of the room, though.
They're bringing the sound system, so they're bringing the lights as well.
They being the,
Yeah.
Is that to light up the stage, or the ones that you put on people and move, and, we're talking a light
They
system.
said they're gonna bring a light, what he mentioned was they could be bringing the light tree, which is gonna be, I don't know, in sync with the music that they're putting on their spot.
That's just lights.
And I know that there is a spotlight at the school that works, and I know they have, complete stage lights that work, right, when we went and,
So is somebody gonna be using?
Can Wally do the lights as well as the curtain?
Wally said that he would do the lights or the curtains, can't do both, but
Guy Elsenheimer can also do lights when he's not up there, and he has a buddy who can do lights.
yeah, I've been talking to Guy, and like I said, he wanted to get in there and see it, I don't know.
Well, we need to find out what the holdup is, because he's told me a couple times that he just can't get in there. I'm like, who are you talking to? So anyway, that's
It's
what
like going into a jail, it's high security at the schools anymore.
Yeah, and thank God for that.
Yeah, it's important, for sure.
So I also want to emphasize that I said earlier that it would be a fabulous thing for this committee to organize their concerns, not only your positive goals, but your concerns of things that are going sideways and backwards, and get that drafted, bring it back here for approval by your committee to submit to the board. If everybody maybe would want to write down their concerns, bring them all back, discuss, see who has different ones. You probably all have a lot of the same ones, but somebody might have something that you're all like, oh yeah, let's add that. I strongly urge you to communicate with the board directly. Carbon copy Karen on what you're sending. Ask for it to be in the packet, ask to be on the agenda. You should not have to speak during public comment. It should be, we want to ensure that everyone is aware of what we are doing so there's no confusion, blah, 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 and do that as a formality, draft it, put it together, approve it, that was coming from this committee, not one person. And it saves the 15 emails that nobody responds to. Another thing was, Judy, when you're talking about meeting with the library, yesterday on our new Bath government review page, the gal from the library reached out to Carolyn, last name's Horde, but she's Whitmer on Facebook. She's Parks and Recs. They're going to get together and chat.
there's no park and rec.
Yeah, Recs and then Parks.
Recreation, it's
Yeah.
called the Recreational Advisory.
Right.
Well, Carolyn's on the rec committee.
Right, so, the gal from the library had reached out to Carolyn to me, so that you might want to do all three together and communicate, do events that way. And also too, in speaking with Carolyn, Becca and Ben both attended their meetings, which are both the staff. One is Recs, one is Parks. So even though they're called Recs, Parks is still reporting back to them, and they are still advising Parks.
Benzie is director.
Yeah, the director of parks. So they have staff attending their meetings, and they have a lot less going on than this group does. You're a day-to-day activity. If you go to the website, Recreations has, I think, soccer and t-ball right now, maybe.
With Haslet.
Soccer and t-ball, maybe. They have Zumba, and they're trying to do yoga. That's the only recreations things on the website. You know, and they also do farmers market, which I realize that takes some time, but them being allowed to have staff and you not being allowed to have staff, to me, is absolutely ridiculous. There should have been a superintendent's report today. You should have reports from your director and reports from your kitchen. Those numbers should be being monitored. They should be shared with this group. My personal feeling is that you folks are being shut down and shut out and controlled. Nobody on earth tells you who you can speak to, except maybe the police, you know, or the court, you know, if you go that far. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Any other public comment? I move for adjournment. The next time we meet, it'll be Wednesday the 19th.
Did I miss the call from that date?
Oh, it has not changed. And the reason we don't get any money is because we're not charging for any, we're not paying for money anymore, that's why.
Yeah, you guys need to spend that.
Huh?
You guys need to spend that, buy something for the senior center.
Well, we are doing flowers,
Bereavement and sick.
but someone's kind of,
What's your question, Jean?
What's the balance?
no, we don't do anything.
What's the balance of the flower fund? It's on it. What's the balance of the flower fund?
32,000.
No, the flower fund.
I don't know, whatever it was last time, it has not
It's
changed.
like 17 or 25 or $35. What is it?
I think it was 36.
$36 on the flower fund.
Has that
Dana.
This Dana is in charge of it.
Can you bring it next time?
I certainly will try. You shouldn't give me those kind of responsibilities, but I took it, shame on me, but okay, I'll have that, I'll find it.
Did you send flowers or a card to,
I thought you said $32.
I moved. No, Leo.
Dwight?
No, we don't do funerals.
All right.
We don't do funerals, we only wanted to.
All right, any other public comment? I call for adjournment. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Next time we'll meet is April 19th. Keep on keeping on, guys. You're doing a great job. I asked the Tri-County Office on Aging for a list of senior centers in our region. I got the list. I would at least like to visit a few of them. The one in St. John's and the one in Eaton Rapids. Here's an article about the one in Eaton Rapids. But would anyone like to visit senior centers with me in the region? The reason I got this was I thought we should send them all Kenny Rogers, Dolly Parton poster and ask them if they wanted tickets, all their seniors could buy tickets. We could even give the director tickets, so that she could sell the tickets. But there's quite a few in the region, so I don't know if you want to look at these, but we'll set this up. We can't really do it all right now, but we will set it up and we'll go see. Who might like to go to senior centers with me? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right.
How do we get tickets to in Okemos or East Lansing or Hazlet? Because they're close.
What do you mean, how do we get to that?
Never mind, I'll look at the list. It's probably on there. It's probably more widespread than I think.
Sharing with people. Selling tickets to that area.
Oh,
So one of the things I'm doing is I'm writing an article for the East Lansing Living magazine, which comes out in the end of March, and I will talk about the senior center and the tickets, the event, and why it's how they get tickets. So it'll be in every person in East Lansing mailing address gets one of these magazines, so they'll hear about it that way. I suggested we put it out here on the blinker board. Kim has talked to Taylor about that. Yard signs, we've talked about that.
I just talked to Jenna about creating a Facebook event through the senior center page. She didn't know how to do it. I tried to help her do it. I told her, if you can't do it, I can come in and show you how to do it. But if I create the event, like Cheryl saw, it shows me as the host.
Right.
It needs to be From there, she said she will do it, I will follow up with her. I offered to assist in any way she needed and to tell her what sharing options she needs so that she doesn't, she was a little nervous about changing anything in the settings, of course, because I'm sure that's a smackdown issue. But it needs to be shared, and as soon as we get that out, I'm on the DeWitt, the Langsburg, the Hazlet, and the East Lansing community pages, and I can share it out that way.
What's it,
Yeah, it's an event where they say interested or going, you know,
Right,
so any session, they
yeah.
get their tickets that way.
Oh, then I thought it was.
So Sherry,
You
you know of anyone
meals, yard time, you want my house.
If you know of anyone from Langsburg that would like a ticket, I will be there tonight. I will be there next
Joy was
Wednesday.
gonna make those
Saturday.
yard signs, and she spent a day and a half making one yard sign. And I told her, that we could pick it up and use it.
I didn't hear that.
It's a good place to
Oh, yeah.
day and a half.
I've already
She spent
taken a
making
flyer
one
over
yard
there,
sign.
and the commander would have your ticket, I know that.
We talked about how it's gonna be preserved so it doesn't get weather. Someone said you sprayed them last time with something. Do you have that spray or do we need to buy it too?
We can buy some, so like, it uses spray.
What's
Spray shellac. Joy made yard signs
We're
3
also
years
looking
ago.
into
My daughter's.
getting those corrugated type that,
Yeah, that's.
electric people
So,
need.
well, people I have.
Tim's checking into that.
I gotta go.
Oh, I thought it should be.
Have it.
You should.